The White House is currently drawing up plans to deal with the massive foreclosure crisis. One idea is to turn foreclosed properties into rentals, including affordable housing. As Jackie Keenan reports, some organizations already have a head start.
So I'm calling you.
Marka Bristow's nonprofit is helping solve the housing crisis, one foreclosure at a time.
It's provided an opportunity for us to be able to acquire properties that might have just, 10 years ago been too expensive.
Bristow is the president and CEO of Chicago-based Access Living, an advocacy group for disabled persons. Armed with $19 million in funds, mostly from the state of Illinois, Access Living is changing the model of affordable housing by purchasing distressed and foreclosed condos and turning them into subsidized apartments for disabled persons. Called the Home First Project, the program buys only newer condos in handicap-accessible buildings located in safe neighborhoods.
People are looking for housing that's accessible, and that tends to be in newer buildings. They look for housing that's affordable, that tends not to be newer buildings.
Other nonprofit groups have programs in the works to purchase entire buildings left vacant by the housing crisis and transition these eyesores into lower-income housing. Moving into an affordable apartment like this one is a good thing for those that are moving in. But what about for the neighbors that have already seen property values plummet?
If there's 10 foreclosures in your neighborhood, you might not be able to sell your property at any price.
Real estate expert Rebel Cole says even in a neighborhood with mixed property values, subsidized housing will always be better than a vacancy.
That's a big positive for the neighborhood. That can boost property values by 10–20%.
Still, a problem could be convincing home associations in more affluent neighborhoods to allow subsidized housing in their backyards.
Yes.
Michelle Horath from IFF, whose organization has helped Access Living with the execution of the Home First project, says education is key.
We're planning on moving in people who would be good neighbors, and not that there won't be a transition, but hopefully, people will start to look at the fact that it's also about stabilizing a building.
Despite Access Living and other nonprofits purchasing distressed housing when no one else will, Cole says the foreclosure crisis is long from being over.
You got 4 to 5 million at least, maybe as many as 10 million by some estimates. We're only processing about 1 million foreclosures per year. So you do the math, and it's going to be at least 3 or 4 years before we work through this problem.
For First Business News, I'm Jackie Keenan.
Chase Bank granted $4 million to the Home First program. It's a win-win for both organizations as the bank is opening its portfolio to possibly offload some of its real estate-owned properties. Access Living is spending no more than $150,000 per property.